What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and it is insanely hot here in Michigan on a Sunday afternoon. It is in the mid-90s. It's been 80 degrees since about 7 o'clock this morning. I know because the air's been on in my house, and I took the dogs out early this morning in my hoodie, and I immediately just evaporated. And then my wife had to just regrow me from vapor. It was disgusting. It still is. It feels like I live inside of an armpit today. It is absolutely disgusting. So hopefully it's not too bad where you are. Hopefully, guys, if it's hot for you, you're staying cool. If it's cold, you're staying warm. Whatever you got to do, you guys. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday. And I'm glad you guys are able to take a little bit of it to come say hi to me. So we're going to talk all sorts of United transfer news today. There's a lot going on. Not any big news, but still a little bit and enough to do that. Plus, I have a little bit of a scouting report for you that pretty much you guys kind of had a hand in. So we're going to dive into that too. If you want to find a way to kill the time while you're waiting for any Embuemo updates or anything, go check out the season 2 finale of What If. That did drop a couple days ago. Check out the Kickabout show from last week. You get to see Dylan and I were trying to make that a weekly thing. So Go Legends members, that is a perk. You're able to jump on for a little bit on those Kickabout shows when we do those every Wednesday night. So if you are a Legends member, like Dabasi Gadai, thank you, Dabasi Gadai, big up. If you are a Legends member, please stop by the Kickabout show to take full advantage of that. And you can jump on, share your thoughts on some of the topics. We love to make sure you guys get involved in that. So you're going to have to email the channel, though, as a Legends member. So Dabasi, email the channel at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com, and I'll send you a link to jump on, all right? So we're going to jump out on that. So like the video, you guys, subscribe to the channel, check those memberships. Like I said, that is a good way to get involved in different ways, contribute to the channel, and you get to have more of a say in the kind of content we put out here. So check those out. Big up Starting 11 member Bill Marshall, big up Legends member Dabasi Gadai. Appreciate all the love and support. Go check out in the link in the video description too, you guys. There's that link to GoGoalShop. You guys know I love me some GoGoalShop. The UVE store is back up. Go ahead and check that out too for all the sweet designs like the green and gold OG United vs. Everybody shirt that Dylan was rocking on the Kickabout show, or the any of those shirts, really, the Cliff, all that stuff is all on the store. Go check that out. Go check out the links to Fubo for all your streaming platform services. Kitbag, I think Kitbag still has 10% off right now when you register, so go check that out. And Fanatics, all the links are in the description. Go check out. And then for all you animal lovers, like I said, the last couple of days, I'm going to be doing this for the next few months. So bear with me. For all you animal lovers, and even if you aren't, no one's perfect. I'm kidding. I say that, but I'm kidding. My wife, you guys know, she's heavily involved in charity. And right now, the animal shelter that she volunteers at and is working with Michigan Animal Welfare Foundation to raise some funds. They've got a big fundraising event coming up in August right now. My wife has a personal page that she's trying to raise funds for. The link is in the description if you guys want. Big up. Oh, Sanjay's in the house. Dude, Sanjay, big up too, Sanjay. Sanjay donated very, very generously. So my wife was literally head over heels, man. You made her day, Sanjay. That was such a generous, kind thing you did, man. And we appreciate that very much. Every little bit does help, you guys. This is her page. Like I said, the link is in the video description. You can go check that out. Every little bit helps. If you can't donate yourself, not a big deal. There's no pressure at all either, but please consider just sharing it along your social platforms, friends and family, whatever you want to do. Consider sharing it. Somebody might want to share. If we do get any donations while we're live, if we do get any memberships, super chats, like I said, until that event goes on in early August, any of that stuff will go towards that. If we do get anybody donating live, I do notice that I will give away 5 memberships for free while we're live. So keep that in mind, you guys. Again, there's no pressure at all. Do appreciate everybody just letting me at least take the time to share that with you. And big up Sanjay for his donation yesterday. My wife absolutely appreciate that. You made her night. Appreciate that, my guys. So thank you. Big up, Danny. Danny B in the house. Hope you're having a good Sunday, dude. It is freaking hot here. So hot right now. I am done with it, man. It's been 80-something degrees since 7 a.m. this morning. I'm done with it. So, but big up, everybody. Let me take this off the screen now. We can get back to what we're doing here. And again, I'll revisit that later on. But like I said, if we do get any donations while we're live, I will go ahead and give away a bunch of free memberships on the channel, as much as YouTube will allow me to do in one go. How's that? But remember, if you want to get the free memberships, you do have to have that feature activated on your YouTube account. It's not automatic. You have to actually go into your settings and enable those kind of gifts from YouTube. So make sure that if you're ever watching and I give away the memberships and you don't get one and you're pissed off about it, you might not have that option activated. So make sure you're doing that. So let's dive in. Danny says it's 90. It's so bad. It's like 95 here. It's going to be almost 100 these next couple of days. So I whipped out the toaster oven so I don't have to turn on the big oven. Big up, man. So appreciate that, everyone. Congratulations to Diogo Dalot, by the way. He got married this weekend, my guy. I know he's a bit of a mercurial player among the United fan base these days, but still always fun when someone gets married, and especially one of our players. So big up Diogo Dalot. So what we got here? Danny says, I have to ask the missus, did she donate something? I shared it with her. You guys do whatever you got to do. Like I said, if you feel compelled to, awesome. So far, the only one I've seen on there is Sancho. But again, there's no pressure. There's not judgment. If I don't share it, the answer is always no, right? But yeah, and you don't really have to, even if you guys don't want to, even if you can't financially, not a big deal. At least consider sharing it. But I do appreciate that, Danny. I know you guys are dog lovers. I know your wife is also involved. So, and that's great too. Even if, nothing happens, it's still great that, you and your wife care so much and she's working on that stuff as well. That's always great. The shelter stuff is rough. No pun intended. So congratulations, Diogo Dalot, tied the knot this weekend. So let's talk transfers. Danny says probably in her name if she donated. Well, I will check back live before we quit the show. And if anybody does do any donations while we're live, I will give away 5 memberships. So be sure to watch till the end to get involved in that. If you wanted to, you could get one of those free memberships. So big up. Let's talk transfers. Let's start with a quick little survey. So you guys can see the poll in the chat right there for this transfer window, because I've seen a lot of outrage on social media regarding United's transfer business, or really the lack thereof, according to a lot of fans. Because we've only signed Cunha, a lot of people are really getting mad. I think that City's business, Liverpool's business, has really, really aggravated a lot of United fans. 2 things I'd like to remind everyone about, just to keep in mind. Again, not going to go on a soapbox. I'm just saying, let's try to keep this into context. First things first, the transfer window's never been open this early. All right, it's opened a month earlier than it always has been, and we got someone signed literally in the first couple of days. So it's like the earliest we've ever signed a player. We don't even sign anybody in June under normal circumstances. So we've already signed it. If this were a normal transfer window, no one would be able to say anything because it's not even open yet. So keep in mind, we have signed a player first couple of days of transfer window, and we are still doing. Remember, the transfer window also closed for a week as well. So technically, we're moving quicker and we're signing players earlier than we're done. And then there's the financial thing. The financial calendar for this club starts July 1st. So a lot of the business done before that counts towards this past season. Business done after July 1st starts next season. That does have an impact on PSR. So you have to keep that in mind as well. PSR has been just boning us for the last several years now because of the way this club has been run. It would behoove us to be a little mindful of that going into this. And then also, this isn't going to be the norm under the new regime. I'm not saying that the new norm is going to be slow, but the norm is going to be patient. And you know that I've been critical, this whole we don't want to run to the wrong decision. I get that part, but you can also run to the right decision if you know the right decision. That's the part I've also been critical. Don't have to always just be second, third, fourth guessing. This isn't like building a deck where it's measured twice, cut once. We're like reviewing something 8 times before we do something with it, like we can do. So I like the readiness to walk away if something is too high. I like the not willing to get, our pants pulled down on stuff. I like the hard boundary on things. And when it comes to negotiation, because we haven't been so good at that over the last couple of decades, that's why we have to be a little bit more stringent with these things. And I wouldn't worry about Mbeumo either. It's going to happen. It's just, this is part of it. So honestly, though, when it comes to transfers, I'd prefer the window open mid-June and close mid-August, from now on, personally. I don't like that it's open during the first couple weeks of the season. I think it's really annoying. If it were up to me, I'd have it open June to the end of July, give people a couple weeks to come in and do their thing. But what are you going to do? So Danny says I'd start to panic mid-July if we only have Cunha and Buemo. Well, it is a long transfer window, and I mean, I hear you. I'd like to get everybody in before the preseason. Ideally, I don't think that that's necessarily always going to be realistic, but I would like to see that happen. I'm sure Ruben Amorim would like to have as many players as possible in before the transfer window. But what are you guys saying in the poll here? Because I did put a poll. So, are you impatient with United's transfer activity so far? 57% of you said yes, effing do something. 43% say no, we'll be fine. I'll leave it open for a little bit for all the late people late to the stream, but there's a lot going on. I think we'll be fine. Would I like to see a sign? Yes, I would. You guys, it goes without saying, but I can honestly sit here and say I'm not worried. You guys know going into this, my preference was my biggest demand was just try to get as much business done before preseason tour if possible, because that's going to be so important. So I think that we will get a striker and we will get Mbeumo over the line before the preseason tour. But I think anything other than that is going to be dependent on player sales like Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Malacia, potentially Onana. I don't know. And then maybe we'll do a couple more later on, depending on who goes, who stays. So that's what I think anyway. I do think, Bindier could be leaving. We could need a backup. There's a lot of people that we could get for free. Woodgate, Woodburn, whatever that dude's name is. So that's where I think we're at right now. But moving on to Mbeumo, since we're talking about Mbeumo, Rudy Galletti has a little bit of an Mbeumo update, and this is what he had to say. Man United are willing to pay £63 million plus add-ons to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Personal terms have already been verbally agreed upon. Final details with Brentford still to be defined. Expected soon. 63 mil plus add-ons. How do you guys feel about that? Is that too high for you? Is that about where you like to be? I mean, it's one of the better players in the Premier League, right? One of the top 10 goal scorers in the league last season, and we got the other one too, right? In Cunha. So is that too high? I mean, it's Premier League proven. Peter Schmeichel came out recently and said, he's happy that we're signing Premier League players, like some of the best in the Premier League. But he also added, you're going to be paying a little extra for that. So is that Premier League tax? Is that United tax? Is that about right for you guys? Probably going to be 25-30 million up front, and go from there. Sanjay says it's a fair fee. I mean, I'm not upset about it personally. Let's just get it done, right? I really don't care. It's about what we paid for Cunha going into it. So again, this is still just out there in the Twitter sphere. It's not fully confirmed yet. Still paper talk at this point. But what would your ideal price for Mbeumo be right now, contextually? With everything you did last season, everything you think he's a good age, Premier League proven. Brentford don't usually sell players for cheap. Danny says it's about the highest we could go. Yeah, probably. We probably had because again, and this is the thing, and I know you guys probably are aware of this. We talked about this. It's not like we're paying 63 million out of pocket. We're paying, that is the fee. We're paying that in installments. That's just how transfer works. So it depends on how much we're going to be paying up front, really. That's what's going to come out of our budget for the summer. And he says anything more would be getting bent over. Anything more, then you might start looking at someone like Eze or something maybe, and see. That's where I think United would be doing. Danny says 55 with 10 mil add-ons was a little too cheap. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, a couple million's not that big a deal, honestly. If 3 extra million is 1 extra million over, a year for a 3-year amortization, it's not that big a deal. But you guys let me know. Quality has a price, says Sanjay. Yeah, quality does have its price. Let me I'll put a poll in and see what you guys have to say about the price tag here. For all of you guys who are kind of trickling in late, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. If you're new, sorry. Let me just write a poll here for you guys. All right, you guys let me know what you think here about Rudy Galletti's. What do you got here? Danny says Mbeumo better than Eze. Yeah, I like Mbeumo a lot more than Eze. Both are good. I wouldn't say no to either. I think Mbeumo's a little younger, right? How old is Eze? Isn't Eze 20? Maybe they're about the same age. Hold on, let me look and see. I should have looked at this while I was thinking about this earlier. So Mbeumo is 25. He'll be 26 in a couple months ish. Let me look at Eze here. Eze is 26 already, and he will be 27 in a couple weeks, or like a week, he'll be 27. So Eze, a couple of years older. So a little older. You probably end up paying a little more for Eze, but I do think Mbeumo is the better player. So I do think we're getting the better player. So as far as Premier League proven for what we're looking for, Mbeumo is probably as good as you're going to get. Like, and I don't mean that as like that's what we're selling for. I mean, like, he's quality wise, I think he's literally almost the best you can get aside from Cunha, and we got both. So I'm happy with it. Slash's Snake Pit. Big up, my guy. What? I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Hope you're doing well. I just freaked out a little bit seeing an old familiar face here, man. How have you been? Hi, everyone. Not caught alive for a while. Don't mind the Mbeumo price, but if City or Liverpool wanted him, it would be 40 million. Yeah, well, we know that there's also with Liverpool, maybe. I mean, they did just drop 100 million on Florian Wirtz. So that's a little ridiculous. And they way overpaid for Darwin Nunez. Let's have that right, too. But City, I think on paper, City, yeah, 40 million. But let's not forget, City do go through a lot of brown envelopes over there at the Etihad. So 40 million, we'll see. So, but big up, Slash. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're staying cool on a hot day. Hopefully, wherever you are, it's not crazy. It's 95 here, so love that. I hate summer, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it. Cannot stand summer at all. So it is what it is. Someone just rang my doorbell. I'm not answering it, though. So anyway, Galletti also had something to say about Onana being linked to Monaco this week. So let me see what Galletti has to say about Monaco and Onana interest. Remember, we talked about this the other day. So, according to Rudy Galletti, talks between AS Monaco and Andre Onana are not advancing. Part of the management is open to considering his departure, but no full consensus within the club. The goalkeeper himself isn't convinced about leaving Manchester United, and that's coming from Rudy Galletti. So, it's interesting. We did get the links. I think they're from L'Equipe, right? That said Monaco were maybe interested in Andre Onana. That we were talking about that the other day. Obviously, yesterday we did that whole stream about my goalkeeper targets that I would replace Onana with. If you haven't gotten to watch that, go ahead and watch that. A handful, literally half a dozen goalkeepers that I think are better than Onana, and literally they are if you look at the numbers. So go check that one out when you're done here. And again, kind of hearing what we've been hearing is that maybe we're open to it, but we're not like forcing it. So, and it sounds like, and Rudy Galletti's not the first person I've heard this from, that not everybody at United is fully convinced on keeping Onana versus selling him. So there's a little bit of discourse going on there. And then of course we did get the rumors, and Galletti kind of finishes it up that, maybe Onana does want to stay and fight for his place as well. So interesting stuff. What do you do though? Like if the club doesn't want you, but you don't want to leave, like how does that play out in dressing room and the boardroom and stuff? I mean, I'm not saying again that United don't want Onana. I don't want Onana, but I'm just curious. Like, what do you do at that point? And the Mike McGrath had something to say about this as well. He made some comments about Emi Martinez. Mike McGrath. He claimed the United are not currently looking at him. So anybody out there, I know Lucky likes Emi Martinez, I believe. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Emi Martinez. You guys know that. But Mike McGrath says that's not happening. But we'll see. Again, all paper talk, as we know. Who's jumping in here? Debasi, big up, newest member of the channel, Legends member, my guy. Big up. Debasi, make sure to email the channel at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com for the Kickabout show on Wednesday evening, because part of the Legends membership is you do get to join in and share your thoughts on some of those topics on Wednesdays. So give me your email. I will send you a link and we'll go from there. All right. So big up, Debasi. Good to see you again, my friend. And big up, that Legends, because you got that Legends after this fundraiser started, that fee is going to go towards helping my wife's charity as well. And like I said, if we do get any live contributions while live, I will give away memberships here during the stream. So no pressure at all. Link is in the description if you guys ever, and there's tons of links in the description. I keep adding new links in there. It's crazy. But goalkeeper, I mean, I think Monaco could be a good fit. I think a place like Galatasaray could be a good fit for Andre Onana. I think maybe a place like Sevilla or like Villarreal, someplace like that could be a good fit for. I mean, go to Leverkusen, dude. Go get hooked back up with Ten Hag, dude. Maybe if you can convince Leverkusen to pay a ton of money, that would be great. I don't know, but you got to get out, man. We could do so much better than Onana. I don't even remember how much you paid. It had to be like more than 50 for Onana, right? Like that was just criminal. But it's ridiculous. What would you guys do? Let me see what you guys said in the chat here about the Mbeumo price. So 100% of you say no, 63 plus add-ons is not too high. All right. Well, fair enough. The eyes have it. Unanimous. Big up. So these Richard Rios rumors are kind of picking up steam a little bit after they kind of resurfaced this past week. You guys remember that it's not the first time we've been linked to Richard Rios. We linked him a long time ago. Remember they were like some of the reports were saying that the price was like 85 million. That was ridiculous. But we got some more reports on Richard Rios. And this is coming from Alfredo Padula. Remember, all this is paper talk. I'm not saying listen to any of these people, unless, of course, it's some of these tier one journos. But again, we're just talking about it. But we got those reports yesterday or the day before that United had rekindled an interest in Richard Rios. And now Alfredo Padula says United are showing serious interest in 25-year-old midfielder Richard Rios. This is one to watch closely. So a lot of us like Richard Rios. Really good player, really good physical player, has a kind of a Pogba-esque passing range, kind of movement, press resistance as well from that deep midfield role, physical, energetic. I like what I see from Richard Rios as well. Again, it's a big question whether or not the step up from Palmeiras to the Premier League is going to be too big. For some players it is, for some players it's not. Andres seemed to kind of settle in decently at Wolves after taking a little bit of time coming from Fluminense. But again, it's not the first time we've been linked to Richard Rios. These guys are becoming like the new Nico Gaitan or Wesley Schneider or something. It's like every summer rolls around and we're getting linked. Again, though, what Richard Rios is he represents the kind of central midfielder that's very similar to the ones we've already been linked to. Very similar to the ones really we need, the profile we'll need. The Hackneys, the Edersons, the Yasharis, physical, playmaking, not afraid to put a shift in off the ball as well. And then good ball progression as well. Like if you look at his numbers, let me put this up on the screen for y'all real quick. So these are his percentiles for the last couple of years. So the one on your left is his percentile from this past season, and the one on the right is from the season before. So you can see very, very similar. He's actually getting a little more advanced if you look at his positioning. So like now how I know that is if you look down towards the model, the bottom of that middle bracket where it says touches in the opposition box or touches in the attacking pen and then progressive passes received, that's how advanced you are when you're receiving the ball. And you can see there's been a little bit of an improvement there. Technically, a lot of the metrics are improving despite looking like some of the percentiles have gone down. But the percentiles have to do more with other midfielders. And so even if you look at like his progressive passes, they technically have improved. So his last year is 5.36 per 90, of course, the year before 5.32 more. But if you look at the percentile is less. And that's because you're seeing a lot more progressive passes from other midfielders. That's how percentiles work. But you can see his numbers are improving overall. And those shot creating actions, again, he's getting a little more into advanced positions. And you can tell that because if you look down towards the bottom at the defensive numbers, his tackles are kind of going down a little bit. Those interceptions are going down a little bit. And it's not that he's bad at them at all, right? He's actually improved on his aerials. It's just that he's getting more involved. He's getting a little more comfortable getting higher up the pitch, getting more involved in that final phase of attack. And I really like that. I like that he's added another string to his bow, if that makes sense. So those are Richard Rios' percentiles. His market value, according to Transfer Market, is 13.5 million. I think Palmeiras are asking for like twice that amount. It's not going to be 85 million that we got those rumors for last year. It's not going to happen. I think you'll probably get him for like 30 mil, 25, 30 mil. I've seen reports. I haven't seen like verified reports, but I have seen reports of a 50 million pound release clause in Richard Rios' contract. So could be interesting. But again, this is paper talk, but I like the vein of midfielder that we're looking at. They're all kind of in their 23 to like 26 age bracket, which I think is a good bracket. And so I do think that I don't think it's going to be something we do this year. I think that's something we're planning on for next summer, and we're putting the feelers out just like we did with Dorgu. But I think next summer midfielder is we're going to go hard for a midfielder. So Slash says, I don't see Martinez being an upgrade. He's not. He's definitely not. We put up some numbers about that the other day. Slash says, I'd rather a nice, boring keeper who just saves shots and claim crosses. Hey, amen. And like I said, Slash, we did a whole video yesterday. You can go back and watch that when you're done here. All my goalkeeper targets, I had 6 of them to replace Onana. There were more on the list. I briefly mentioned a couple more, but because we had done a little bit more in-depth reports on like Chevalier or Carnesecchi recently, I didn't want to go through that all again. But needless to say, those two are on my list as well. But there are some other ones, and they're including some names that some of you guys weren't really thinking about either. So go check that out as well. Justin always popping in here to say, hey, what's good, my guy? Hope you guys are doing well.
Oh, yeah!
Big up, Justin. Hope you're doing well, my friend. That was for you. Justin always gets one of those when he pops in. Justin's my Boondocks buddy, man. Dude, the first time Justin and I went to Manchester, we were watching the episode of Boondocks on his phone probably like 3 or 4 times on the plane. It was literally a red-eye flight. Everyone had to hate our guts because we were dying laughing watching this. I saw some dude giving us the stink eye a lot on the way home because we watched it again because we're adults. But if you guys just go watch the Stink Meter, the Return of Stink Meter episode of Boondocks, if you're into that sort of humor, and just bring a towel, put on your underwear because it's going to get good. Rich says, Sancho anywhere, I'm on board. Welcome back, Rich. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, we're getting there too. I just feel, and I posted on somebody's channel, I think it was Fabrizio Romano, one of his videos yesterday, like, we're probably going to end up having to pay all or part of Sancho's wages just to get him out of here if someone like Napoli wants him. But I think that's probably going to be what we're stuck doing, man. It's really, really ridiculous. Danny says 30 million Rios, 40 million for Yashari, midfield sorted. Yeah, that would be an excellent midfield. And again, they're just those old school. You could take these midfielders that were linked to, right? The like the Lennon Millers, the Hackneys, the Yasharis, the Rioses, the Edersons, and you could literally pluck those guys out, put them on a time traveling machine, and drop them into like late 90s, and they would fit into that sort of football that Ferguson played, like just all around, box to box, a little bit of everything on and off the ball. And I like that. I really do. I think for too long we've been doing this kind of very very specific niche kind of midfielding in football, not just at United, just in football. Like, I'm a 10, I'm a 6, I'm an 8. So that means I don't have to do this. That means I can only do this. You even see it from wingers. I'm a winger. I don't have to track back. Like, no. We're not doing that anymore. You got to put in a shift. You got to learn the job. It's total football. That's how we roll. Maybe I'm a closeted Ajax fan. I don't know. Debas says Rios has C potential. I admit I haven't watched a ton of Rios because I don't have a way to watch Brazilian football, but what I have seen, I do like. And again, the numbers speak for themselves. Dana says he has that grit and heart too, and that shithousery. Yeah, I'm here for the shithousery. If you like, I'm here for Ugarte just giving it the big one to people. I don't care. Like, when Martinez wants to shoulder Salah in this first season, like inject that shit into my fucking veins, like, all day. I'm here for that. We need more of that at United. Like, that's exactly what we knew, man. Which had a Sancho messing up Napoli move. I mean, really, we're messing it up over the salary, if we're going to be honest. And we keep shooting ourselves in the foot when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because, again, all these players over the years that have left for free, your Pogbas, your Martials, your Varans, your De Geas, these guys are on crazy wages. Casemiro is about to leave for free on well over $300K a week. Sancho going into the final year of his contract. The dude could walk away for free. The question is, would you just pay to get him out of here? Take 25 million from Napoli, pay part of his salary just to get him gone. Would that be something you do, or else you're just going to let him run out his contract? Rashford, nobody can afford him. We price ourselves out of the move, and this is why a big part of why PSR is absolutely killing us, man. Danny White says Boondocks. Just Boondocks is fire. Oh yeah. Oh, it's such a good show. Debasi, well, South American players has to have shithousery, otherwise, as long as they don't. I think was he Colombian? Is that what Richard Rios is, if I remember correctly? I should have looked that up as well. Danny says Milan were heavily linked with Yashari, but Brugge won't budge from 40 million, so Milan now moving. Dude, 40 million, in my opinion, for Yashari is a steal. I would pay 50 million for Yashari. And you're going to get that because even though he just joined Club Brugge this summer, and you guys know we've talked about Yashari, I did a full scout reporting on him several times. He just joined Club Brugge this summer, but they upped his contract like within months because A, they saw how good he was, and B, they saw other clubs are already looking at him. They're like, nah, we got to protect this guy. Justin giving us some insight on Lunin as a Madridista here. Lunin has what United need. He knows how to command the box, knows when to come out, and is just shot-stopping beast. There you have it. Yeah, I featured him in my video yesterday, a little spoiler alert, but you can get an in-depth look at, the percentile ranks and how he stacks up to Andre. Now, I compared every single one of these keepers to Onana yesterday, what they're better. Again, the only thing that Onana really excelled at in a lot of these areas was just how many times he kicks the ball and how long he kicks it. And if you put his pass completion on those was god awful. So pretty much a pattern for that. Same as midfielders when I do those as well. And Danny says, how much Madrid? I read some random reports today that it was like 20 million or something. But they're not coming from a very reliable source. I think it was like Team Talk or something. And so, but he did just sign a new contract like not that long ago, which I don't know why he did. He pretty much priced himself out of getting a decent move because Madrid are going to ask for a lot. He could have left for free and gone anywhere, Andre Lunin. He would have got a nice signing bonus. Like, you had to know you weren't starting when Courtois came back. Like, Madrid don't roll that way. Madrid use a backup keeper no, they don't do that. Florentino He's going to go buy. I guarantee you Florentino will go get Donnarumma in a year. That's just the way Florentino rolls. Or whoever the big keeper is at the 2026 World Cup next summer. That's who Florentino Perez is going to go get. We saw it with Keylor Navas. You saw it with James Rodriguez. That's just what Florentino does because the guy's a fucking moron. But hey, whatever. What are you going to do? Tobias says Lunin contract is expiring in 2. Now, Lunin signed a new contract last season, I believe. I want to say yes. I don't remember if it was last season or the season before, but he signed a new contract. So his contract is not expiring in a couple weeks, unfortunately. While we're on topic, you guys are talking about Sancho, Napoli, and whatnot. We could be set for a little shakeup in terms of our rumored dealings with Napoli. So Fabrizio Romano claims that Napoli's dream striker is Darwin Nunez. Oh my God. This is it. This is the end times. I remember reading this chapter in Revelations that there will cometh a day when Darwin Nunez will be someone's dream signing. And on that day, his wrath cometh. I watched that Romano video and I thought I was watching an AI doctored video. I was like, there's no way the words dream signing and Darwin Nunez should exist in the same book, let alone the same sentence. That is embarrassingly, like, I don't know what that is. How can Darwin Nunez be anyone's dream signing? He's just another example, Darwin Nunez, of why I'm hesitant to go big on a player after one decent season. You've seen this at Benfica a lot. One player has one good season, and that's it. I mean, João Felix, ugh. Darwin Nunez, ugh. Like, you can't afford to do that after one season. He runs a lot, though, Darwin Nunez, so I guess he's worth the money, according to a lot of Liverpool fans. Do me a favor, seriously. It's embarrassing, dude. Sticking with Napoli, though, and Fabrizio, he does claim that United want to sell Sancho early on in the summer window. So we're seeing a lot of the Napoli stuff, the Juventus stuff. We read the other day these reports that Juventus had actually made an offer for him. So don't know what's happening there yet. But Fabrizio says that we've told Sancho that we want him gone. We told him that, we want to sell him early. And I remember Sancho and Anthony, you can't get their name and number on the website if you get a shirt. So that could be a big indicator. Rashford's, though, you still can. So we'll see what happens. We're going to talk about Rashford in a second here. But the problem here is, again, as you asked earlier, Rich, Romano does state that Napoli don't want to pay Sancho's salary. He's on a lot of money. And again, we kill ourselves by doing this. And the big thing is today, too, and this is a big part of the video, if you guys saw the thumbnail, is now we've got this Turkish journalist who's got tons of following online. But Yadi Sabunçulu, he claims that Fenerbahce have now inquired about the conditions required to sign Jadon Sancho. So Napoli interested, maybe Juventus, maybe Fenerbahce have now entered the chat. There was a quote I saw from Napoli's sporting director, Giovanni Manna, that they will not be paying Sancho's salary. So again, that is the kicker. He's going to have to either take a salary cut, find a club that'll pay what he wants, or we're going to have to pay part of it. That's just the wages. I'm telling you, like, this club has been run by, we all know they've been run by idiots, but it's starting to be run by criminals. These guys are just, I don't know. It's criminal the way that this club has been run. from just a recruitment standpoint. They don't even look at anything else. Just look at only the recruitment. Isolate any facet of United and the way it's been run in the last 15 years, 20 years. And you're like, how is this even allowed to happen? Like, who did this? Who signed this piece of paper? It's freaking ridiculous. Danny says, I said last week, send him to Jose. He will bully him. Dude, I cannot. That's why it's hard for me to believe stuff like this, because Jose could not, like Memphis Depay, like that was just a match made in hell at that point. Sancho doesn't strike me as a Jose Mourinho type of player personally. Anthony Elanga, yeah, he's right. Even Anthony himself does strike me more as a Jose Mourinho winger. He tracks back. He's willing to put in a shift. Jose likes that from his wingers. I think you could definitely get something at Fenerbahce for Anthony. Debasi says Napoli have lots of money. Well, winning a Scudetto helps, and they still have some of that Kvaratskhelia money lying around, but we'll see. Apparently their dream signing is Darwin Nunez. Okay. I don't know what's funnier, the fact that I keep saying that, or when I laugh when I think about Vince and company managing Bayern Munich still. It's fucking hilarious. Rich says, I heard Lunin is cheap. I have no idea. Well, go watch my video from yesterday, man. You will learn all about Lunin and several other goalkeepers that I think United should be looking at to replace Onana. Did a whole scouting report on half a dozen of these cats yesterday. So I do like Lunin a lot. He's good age, very good. Tobias says, Jose is old now. Sancho will listen in 1 year, out the next. Sancho might only be there for 1 year. Slash says, Sancho thinks he's too good for a pay cut, and Rashford thinks he's waiting for you. We're going to talk about Rashford, because I don't know if you guys saw this interview. I watched the whole YouTube video from this yesterday, and so I took notes. So Danny says, Ollie might come in for Rashford or Sancho. And that's what I was like. I'm like, why is Ollie not coming in for either? Because I think they would both do very well under Ollie. They both, he loves Rashford. Rashford plays an Ollie way. He's the one who chased Sancho for over a year. I think that could be good. I just don't think either of them want to go to Besiktas personally. It's Galatasaray, it's Fenerbahce, and then it's Besiktas in terms of just like the glamour over there. Besiktas is seen more of the fans, like the people's club, I guess you could say, from some people I know. So I think if anybody was going to go to a Turkish club, Galatasaray would suit their profile, I guess. But again, what did I say the other day? These English wingers need to just humble themselves. The Grealish, the Sancho, the Rashford, these guys, they're not these guys anymore. They all have kind of hit that age where it is what it is. And Grealish has got to be one of the biggest flops I've ever seen in my life. Sancho is up there as well. Grealish is worse because he moved within the Premier League. Sancho didn't. You can excuse Sancho by saying he's just not cut out for the league. Grealish has no excuse. He just has been shit. Debasi says Barcelona don't love Rashford. One-sided love is always trouble. Debasi, are you speaking from experience? I hope not, my guy. Hopefully no one hurt you. We love you, Debasi. I'm joking. Oh man, how frustrating though must it be as a United manager over the last decade, 12 years, to be told basically you can't get the players you want, we can't strengthen in ways you want, because the people who made the decisions before you even got here authorized these fees and these wages for guys like Sancho and Anthony Rashford, for instance, and there's no money left. How frustrating must it be to come in and be told, yeah, sorry, you gotta sell McTominay if you want to get your new Ugarte. And I'm sure that wasn't Ten Hag's first choice. Ten Hag liked McTominay. He relied on him a lot, but it's just where we are. But this is why we need a whole complete overhaul of the recruitment structure. We need long-term club identity focus kind of planning and building instead of just focusing on what a given manager wants. That's the biggest part of why we are where we are. It's because we just bought for managers with no plan, no identity, no structure, no long-term thought. It's been awful, man. It's absolutely. Danny says Pep destroyed Grealish. Well, Grealish should have known better. And if he didn't know better, he should have surrounded himself with people who know better. And if he doesn't, then he's an idiot. This, so many ex-players and even current players have said, you got to have good people around you, because these people are going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. People need to have your interest in mind, not just their own, not just want to be dick riding off the celebrity of who you are. And I don't think a lot of these players do. I think just look at the way Grealish behaved after they won a treble. The guy had to be dragged out of a party. The guy drove drunk during lockdown, hit someone else's car, and then literally fled the scene. Like, that were America, he'd be locked up right now. But no, you're not going to do that. It's just weird stuff, man. So yeah, dude, that's what I was thinking. Debasi, Turkiye. Turkey's going to hate it. I think Pep's going to turn Turkey from like this 10 and this wide player into an 8 like he did Bernardo Silva, and he's going to get burnt out. He just is, because that's just what Pep does. Pep doesn't care about who you are as a player. He cares about what you can offer, and then he'll literally just to the blade of grass and the millisecond, this is where you are, like at any given point in a match. Like this is why players get burnt out under Pep. He sucks all the individuality, all the creativity, all the spontaneity, all the flair, all the joy out of football. But they win, so they don't care. Win, but they don't care. But it is what it is. Danny says, if that was a United player, it would be talked about week in, week out in the press. Yeah, you're right. And we know that. The agenda is real. I've said that many times on this channel. If you can't see that by now, you're either a Liverpool fan or you're just young. But the agenda is real. My dog's barking, if you guys heard that. So dogs are in their kennels. I had to put my wife's gone. I have to put the dogs in their kennels when I do this, because my one dog finally took her into the surgeon on Tuesday. Was it Monday, Tuesday, to get the consult, but she has got her ACL tear has turned into a full blown ACL tear, so she's got surgery next month. So awesome, more carrying her around, poor thing. But so we're talking about Rashford. Rashford's been twerking for Barcelona. If that's an image you don't want to ever see again, hit the like button and subscribe for me if you're new. So there's this YouTube video. I guess these two Spanish guys, the channel's called Xbar. I don't know. Is that a TikTok? I don't understand. But he was basically, Rashford is on vacation in Spain, and these two guys have a YouTube channel. And they hooked up with him and hung out with him for a little bit, and then they sat down with him for like 10 minutes or so. I've never heard of these guys before, but whoever they are, they have a football-based channel, and if you watched it, they literally cannot strike a ball to save their lives. But it is what it is. I don't judge. I just observe, and I don't know why you would have a football channel if you can't kick a ball to save your life. But it is what it is. But they were asking some questions for Rashford that came from some of the fans and whatnot. And he had a couple of interesting responses. So he said, they asked him, like, what player do you kind of see yourself in a little bit in terms of their style and the way you play? And he compared himself to Thierry Henry. Now, he didn't say before you jump in, he didn't say he's as good as him, but he's a similar style to Thierry Henry, that comfortable out wide, cutting in on the right, that kind of half striker kind of position. But what Rashford said, and this is why I say he's twerking for Barcelona, is he's starting to feel like the number 9 position is more natural for him as he gets older. I told you guys, striker was his only bet at Barcelona with Lewandowski getting older, if Rashford wants to go there. He's not ousting Rafinha. He's not ousting Lamine Yamal. Striker is the only thing he will ever play at Barcelona. If he wants to play left wing, go to Bayern or Juve or something. You're not doing it at Barcelona. And so I think it's pretty transparent. Like just the things that he was saying. He was asked on his opinion of Lamine Yamal, and of course he had nothing but praise for the 16-year-old. I mean, you're gonna praise Lamine Yamal. I mean, that's just what you're gonna do no matter who you are. But just congratulating for just what he's doing at that age at the highest level possible. Like he's got no right to do that for his age. Lamine Yamal is absolutely like an alien. What we thought about Hojlund when he was that age, Lamine Yamal is for the age. I think Lamine Yamal could be better. For the age at that age. Big up, Rob. Good to see you again. Missed you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good weekend. Debasi says, United is bigger than City. They will even have the janitor statue. Yeah, City are a joke. That David Silva statue is embarrassing. Sergio Aguero statue. So they asked, though, these guys, these expired dudes, they asked Rashford if you ever wanted to play with Yamal, and Rashford said, of course, everyone wants to play with the best players, right? And it wasn't that comment that I picked up on him. It was the comment that he kind of closed with that sentence with that really kind of my ears perked. And so he said, of course, everyone wants to play with the best players. But then he said, hopefully, we'll see. And I was like, Rash, what are you doing, bro? At least try to hide it a little bit, man. What are you doing? Again, he's twerking for Barcelona. Let's have it right. We should have sold him when PSG wanted to give us $100 million for him. I'm not saying that because I dislike him. I'm saying that because that was at the peak of his powers, the peak of his value. We probably could have gotten $120 million from PSG for Rashford at that time. I said the same thing about Pogba after the 2018 World Cup. We should have sold him after that. We could have gotten over 100 million, well over 100 million for him from Real Madrid that summer. COVID set in the following year, and it is what it is. They couldn't afford him anymore. And I think that people may be so loyal to players like Garnacho, like Mainu, like Bruno. And I'm not saying I don't love these guys, but even Ferguson said if someone offers you more than a player, you have to consider it. And if someone offers that much for Rashford, a PSG president is coming out twerking for Rashford a couple of years ago, you pull his pants down and you take anything you can get from him. Like it's good business. That could set us up for a while. I love Bruno. If someone offered 100 some odd mil for him, take it. Whatever. It is what it is. That's all it is. But what do you guys think about Rashford's comments during that interview, man? Because it was interesting. Rob says Rashford won't be a Barcelona player next. Yeah, he's delusional. Yeah, he may have he may have like Thierry Henry Barcelona poster on his wall, but that's as close as he's going to get. Then he said he has been twerking for Barcelona since January. He wants to go there, but literally his only chance is to just become a striker. You can see he scored a lot of strikers' goals in Ten Hag's first season. He was getting a lot of headers in the box, scoring from a lot of central positions. Even at Aston Villa, he was kind of playing in an inside channel a little bit, not saying it's too far wide. He was getting more into central positions. Again, I think that he is just doing everything he can to make it look like I can be a number 9. And I said, that's the only position you're going to even have a chance at Barcelona. And I don't even think that you would be their first choice for a striker position personally. But what are you going to do? He also remarked, he had some comments to say about, they asked him, what's the best part of being a footballer? What's the worst part of being a footballer? The best part, he says, is getting to do what I love, every day. But on kind of the other side of that coin, he said the worst part is the life of a footballer, not really being able to have a normal life. You can't just go out to the shops, he said. You can't walk your dog without it kind of difficulty, whether you've got, the media there or fan. And he didn't complain about fans. He just said it was difficult. So I can understand it. That would be difficult for me. I'm pretty introverted. I'm pretty private. And I would not be comfortable with a life like that. So I definitely resonate with that a lot. I'm not saying I'm famous. I'm not famous, but I do like my privacy, and it would bug me if I can't just go get a cup of coffee without people. I would make time, but I'm just I wouldn't be mad about it. I would just be it would be a little uncomfortable. It's I don't have parties at my house, because my house is my place of peace and quiet. And so when parties are here, it kind of disrupts that. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It has nothing to do with the people. It's just, I like my peace and quiet. So, but what this does is, again, it kind of makes me feel like Rashford's burned out a little bit, just of the footballing life. He's been doing this for a decade now at this level. He made a remark about, he was struggling a bit this past season because he's also taking college courses. And he said he was late to training so much because he had college courses on Fridays. We were in Europa League this year, and Europa League games go late early on. And so he had to get up early the next day, go to class. But he said the traffic coming from class to Carrington made him late on a regular basis. And maybe that could have been a contributing factor to him kind of irking some of the managers a little bit, if that makes sense. Let me get what you guys are talking about here. So Rob says, these players we want to sell have big wages are going to be United reserves tour. Yeah, and that was a question too. What do you guys think about the coming of that? We'll do that in a little bit here. But the wages, Rob, are killing us, man. We can't sell players. We're sitting here paying a combination of $1 million per week between 3 players, 4 players almost, and players who aren't even in the plans. That's killing us. They're vampires. And that's not the player's fault necessarily, but the fact that they're not wanted, and they're on 300, 200, whatever Molossi is on a week, that's killing us financially. It's just sucking us dry here. Buster says he's trying to get a Spanish chick that want out of him. Nota, big up Nota. Good to see you again. Let him go, and no hard feelings. Both parties are done with each other. Yeah, he kind of, I think bridges burned for Rashford. A lot of players or a lot of fans because of that Henry Winter interview. I think that bridges burned with the club for that. And supposedly that was all happened before the Derby, but doesn't matter. The optics don't look good. And if it did, then fuck you, Henry Winter, for waiting till afterward to release that then. Got a good drink. It's freaking hot today, man. Justin says Barca can't afford him, but he also won't be anything more than a super sub behind Rafinha and Louis. Well, it all depends. The only person he's going to come close to, swapping minutes with is going to be Lewandowski, because what is that guy, like 82 now? He's fucking Hugh Jackman in Deadpool and Wolverine. They're just going to make him do this till he's fucking 90, trying to get that cheddar cheese out there. But he's still doing it. Now the injuries are starting to pile up a little bit more, I'm not saying Rashford is going to. I'm saying if he wants to go to Barcelona, he better become the best number 9 out there, because that's his only shot. He ain't dethroning Rafinha. He ain't dethroning Lamine Yamal. And if he goes to Barcelona and he's happy to just be a rotation option, then, dude, have some fucking self-respect, bro. Seriously. Nota says, hopefully reality was set in and he'll realize no one else will pay that joke wages. Yeah, the Saudi league's up there. You can maybe PSG, but I think PSG are past the point where they're signing guys like that. I think PSG are building, which is good to see. Personally, I like to see them do this. It's what we need to be doing. It's what we've wasted the last 12 years of not doing. It's why Liverpool are at a place where they can just swap in, get these cherry on the icing signings like Florian Wirtz or whatnot, because they've spent the last 10 years building. And they put up with 4 years of a struggle, which I think a lot of us need to be patient for, because that's normal for a rebuild. Rob says, I saw earlier that United can trigger an extra year for Sancho, a threat if he won't budge. I mean, it's one of those weird things, because if this were Mourinho or Van Gaal, because you remember Victor Valdez and Schweinsteiger, Sancho would be in the resis. Like, he just would. And they couldn't care less. You can't sell him? Cool. We don't want you anywhere. I mean, Ten Hag banished the guy. For all the slack that Ten Hag got from the media and from rivals and some United fans who are Sancho FC, Ten Hag did everything he could to help Sancho. And for Sancho to turn around and behave the way he has is just, again, it says more about Sancho than it does about anything else. Justin says, I wouldn't hurt anybody. I would just break their camera, toss it in the canal, and write them a check. I wouldn't hurt anybody. I would threaten to, but I wouldn't do it. We don't condone violence here on Universe, everybody, unless you're a Liverpool fan. Anyway, Tabasi says, he would take more of our money if we do that. He would, but sometimes, I've said before, maybe it's the petty little bitch in me that I'm like, I would just publicly come out and terminate his contract and say, we don't want him here anymore. We don't want his negative attitude in the dressing room. We don't want the negativity, the toxicity that he brings. So someone can get him for free. We don't want him here. That's how little, like, I would do something like that if I were United, but I'm a little petty in that regard. But I'll pick up Jules. Good to see you again, my friend. Been a minute. I hope you're doing well. I hear it's pretty hot over there in the UK. It's about 95 here. So I don't know what that is in Celsius, but 95 Fahrenheit here, which is just not, I literally feel like I'm living inside of a sweaty old dude's armpit. Not fun. But yeah, Rashford's either going to be a rotation option at a big club or he's going to be a starter. Honestly, he needs to just go to Villa. Like, Villa was literally the best thing for him. If his goal is to get back into the England squad in time for the World Cup or whatnot, Villa would have been his best bet. They're in Europe. He would have started. They play a system that suits the way he plays. He was doing pretty well. He could have even gotten a bigger move next year, and Villa could have made some money. He could have given himself a platform, and now he's going to have to settle. Like, these players aren't thinking. They have no long-term. Like, you want to make some money, go hustle some of these club executives, go hustle some of these players in pool, because there's no long-term planning. They're only seeing the obvious next shot. No one is looking at the better shot, planning out the next couple shots. Snooker, if that's, I don't know. It is what it is. Billiards. Funny story, I took a 1-credit billiards class my sophomore year of college because I didn't have anything to do on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. So got to play pool for a couple hours, a couple times a week. That was cool. Random. So Slash says, Villa can't afford him with PSR. They had that option, didn't they? I'm not sure what they ever thought they were going to do. If they couldn't afford him with PSR, why would they knew all like the wages and stuff going into it? I don't know why they thought that was like, what was the point of putting an option in if that was going to happen? Like, maybe they thought that he would take a wage cut or something. I don't know. But again, where was the thought process behind that, man? It's freaking dumb. Justin says, I think Rash would be good in Spain in terms of the style of Spanish football. Realistically, if Bilbao kept Nico, then Rash would be a great combo. Well, he's not going to Bilbao because Bilbao only sign Basque players and they only promote Basque players from that region. That's kind of their whole thing. So unless he wants to change his passport to a Basque passport, no one's going to Bilbao. There's a really cool chapter in this book. What the heck is it over here? Edge. by oh no, sorry. Oh, sorry, Ellie Bug. Drop your painting. It's still here. Uncle Sean still got it, Bug. Really cool chapter in this book, Edge by Littleton on Athletic Bilbao. If you guys ever want to read about that, you guys know I like that book a lot. So, but yeah, if he wants an England call up, dude, Aston Villa is going to be his best bet personally. Jewel says high 20s where I live, where UK has been warm. Interesting. Debasi says, what made you love United and EPL over the NFL? Well, I've been playing like soccer, European. I've been playing since I was like 5 or so. So I liked NFL. Like I'm a Patriots fan, but mostly because of Tom Brady went to U of M, which is right down the street from me. Basically, it's like 20 minutes away. But I can't watch NFL because commercials. European football has ruined all of the sports for me because there's no commercials until halftime. And so, plus, when you play it, when you watch it, like it just is. I love football. I still play when it's not 95 degrees outside. Justin and I did a little co-ed indoor this year when I was able to do that. I try to keep in somewhat decent shape so I can still play. Obviously, Father Time's undefeated. There will be a day when I'm going to break a hip, but it is what it is. Rob says, UK sun is different. Our industrial revolution destroyed our ozone layer. Fucking hell. I didn't even think about stuff like that. Our love of hairspray in the 80s and just Hummers in the late 90s killed our ozone layer, man. Jules says, Rob, and good things. Big up, man. Patriots. Yeah, the Patriots, I do love. I mean, I watched more of them in high school. I don't have the patience now. An hour-long football game takes 3 hours on TV because of all the commercials and the stoppage. I can't handle it. Maybe it's ADD, man, but it's like Michigan. So like a lot of Lions fans, the Lions were in the playoffs, I guess, last season. I have clients who are big Lions fans. So I was like, I'll try to watch some of this to have some sort of something to chat about real quick. But I got like a quarter into one of these playoff games and I lost. It was just too many commercials. I can't handle it, man. It's freaking annoying. Nota says hair metal cause an eco meltdown. should be a bumper sticker for someone driving like a Prius or something. Devisa says the sun was also the reason Ronaldo left. Yeah, we all know Griezmann loved the sun, right? Rob says I played on the pitches that Gareth Bale later played on. Nice, big up. That's awesome. Gareth Bale, man. I loved me some Gareth Bale at Spurs. He was so good, man. It's clear maybe football just wasn't, his top, and that's fine, but it is what it is. As long as you're performing, I really don't care what you do off the pitch, with some exceptions. But yeah, the way the Madrid fans treated Gareth Bale was a freaking disgrace. So Rashford, don't know what's happening to him. The wages are killing us. Obviously, he's trying his best to put himself in the shop window for Barcelona with some of his comments, but I don't know if you guys know who those YouTubers are. I don't know who they are. I'm not saying that means they're small time. I don't watch much on YouTube besides a handful of United channels. So what are you going to do? And then some cooking stuff. Wales, golf, Madrid. Oh man. Yeah, that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, wasn't it? I think a big part was too, like the guy didn't even like really bother to learn Spanish, which I think didn't help, but it is what it is. Learning language later on in life is not easy. They didn't really have Duolingo and whatnot back then. So he did go to LAFC and win something. So, hey, big up Gareth. But speaking of strikers, because apparently that's what Rashford is now, we might have an idea of what United are hoping to recoup for if we sell Rasmus Hojlund. So this is coming from Corriere dello Sport recently. So apparently United are looking for a fee of £38.5 million to sell Hojlund and have so far been reluctant to entertain Inter Milan's attempt to negotiate a loan deal. Remember, we got those reports that Milan wanted a loan. We only want a permanent sale. If so, I think the writing's on the wall for Hojlund, right? Like, I don't think maybe we necessarily went into the window looking to sell, but I think it was one of those things where if he was gonna leave, we don't want to bother with a loan. I don't think we're going to get stuck into another Sancho, Anthony, Rashford situation like where we're loaning and no one's picking up these options because it's just a risk. Corriere dello Sport says Inter have gone so far as to suggest a loan move, which would become a permanent if Hojlund meets certain on-field goals. But United are continuing to demand an outright sale, perhaps handing Napoli a boost in their pursuit. I mean, if Darwin Nunez is Napoli's dream signing, who knows what that means for Hojlund? He's going to be, second choice. But I mean, he was originally supposed to be second choice at United. He was supposed to be the young striker who learned off the experienced striker. Did not happen. I think that still feels like a little bit of a high fee for Hojlund personally, 38.5 million. Like we had to know that. Again, it's the same as the Sancho thing. Like, what were you? There was only like a marginal chance you're going to be able to make any money on a Hojlund. Like you literally have to bang in 20 goals a season for you to make any money off of what we paid for him. And even then, if he's banging in 20 goals a season, that probably is going to mean we're going to win stuff, or he's going to achieve the add-ons, which is going to bring that to like 72 million. And you're never going to make more than that on Hojlund. It's ridiculous. So at most you're making like 20 million. And it's just, is that good? I mean, Tobias says Trent learned fast. Well, I think Trent probably tried to learn, but Trent's been twerking for Madrid for a while. So Trent's probably been planning for that his whole life. Nota says his overhead kick for Liverpool in the Champions League final makes Bale a semi. Or his solo run in the Copa del Rey when he got basically fouled off the pitch, kept on running, made a huge semicircle, and still outran the opponent. And I saw a statistic when Bale was at his peak. Bale actually runs quicker with the ball at his feet than without the ball at his feet. And that's Bale has got to be one of the quickest players I've ever seen. The dude is an absolute beast. I would have loved him at United. He played striker for Wales, and this was at a time when we were really looking for a striker. I would have loved him to come in at United and been a striker for us. I think he would have been excellent under Jose Mourinho personally. But what you going to do? Tobias says 50 million. We have a deal. We're gonna have. I mean, I like that we're sticking our foot down, that we're not kind of selling players for peanuts, but we do have to be a little realistic with some of these players. Like, we're not getting whatever the price is that we're looking for Anthony to 40 million. That's not going to happen. Like, let's be honest. Just get him gone. Get the wages off the book. You're never going to make your money back anyway. There's no point. Sancho, same deal. We're going to be paying a lot of money in wages for Sancho. He's entering the final year of his contract. Just get him gone. 25 million, get it going. Rob says, I don't see why people think Jim is going to take losses on these players. I'm sure he would like to get as much as we can. It's just that, like, it's like the Casemiro thing. We talked about this last year. Like, you hold out for too much for Casemiro, you're going to price out your move and you're going to be paying more. Casemiro, we're paying him like 17 million a year in salary. Like, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. Yeah, Rob says we're still paying, and that's it. We are going to still pay for Hojlund, but it just is what it is. Sometimes it doesn't work out. We can't hold on to players simply because we're going to take a PSR loss. It's going to kill us. Like, I get the PSR situation is what it is, and we've talked about it a lot, but I mean, like, are they going to help us, or we're still going to be paying? I don't know. It's a hard one, man. I totally get it. Rob says, Bale for Wales is unbelievable. I was in the crowd for his debut. We lost, but Bale scored a free kick. Nice. Yeah, I remember you guys started as a left back for Southampton, too. It's crazy. Tobias says, Bale and Modric were the first to break Spursy curse. Rob says it's the wages that are stopping moves away. Rather, yeah, it definitely is, and we've talked about that several times on this channel. We the people who do the recruiting, the people who sign these contracts at the club, they're the ones who really are to blame for where we are PSR wise. Why these managers can't get the players they want, or why we can't strengthen really well. Like, why we have to sell the McTominays and the Hendersons and the Elangas and the Kambwalas. The Garners, I was really upset about James Garner at the time. Why we bring in, Donny Van de Beek for a price and then we sell him for peanuts. It's just because the recruitment has not been done by football people. Like, it just hasn't. And now for the first time, it is. But it just also happens to coincide with the start of just a full-on rebuild. And so it's kind of like the stars align, the planets aligning in some of the best ways and the worst ways. But people, we have to be patient. Liverpool took 4 years to do anything under Jurgen Klopp when they were doing their rebuild, but you're seeing the benefits of it. So, but yeah, let me know what you would take for Hojlund. Would you just want to get him gone? Would you take, like, what would be your cutoff point there? It's a difficult one for sure. You can't neglect the PSR side of it, but at the same time, you have to just, does a player hurt? Like, we could take a loss on Andre Onana, but I'm like, you need to go. You've been here 2 years and you're one of the worst players I've ever seen in your position. Like, I don't care about losses. You're hurting us more on the pitch than you are financially. It's time to go. Bye. Anyway, moving on to, yes, but not really, because we're still talking about strikers. So saw a report from L'Equipe in French that United are one of the clubs supposedly interested in Randall Colomouani. This feels like 2022 all over again. So this report comes out. This claim says not only Chelsea but the other two Premier League clubs who have inquired about Kolo Muani are United and Newcastle. Juventus will negotiate with PSG on his permanent purchase after the Club World Cup, and Juventus are confident that he will stay in Turin. Basically, he's not in Luis Enrique's plan. Everything's still wide open. I would avoid Kolo Muani like the plague. I've never rated Kolo Muani personally, but I don't. If Juventus take him, he's going to be back up to Vlahovic, but we've seen reports that Vlahovic could be leaving for very little. I don't know. I wouldn't want Kolo Muani or Vlahovic anywhere near United personally. I don't think either of them are very good. Bias says no bids at 50, then 10 million discount. Jules has got to go. It's been short and sweet. Big up, man. No problem. Good to see you again, man. I love reconnecting with people, man. Go check out that goalkeeper video that we did yesterday if you want to look at some of my targets, man. But big up. Thanks for stopping by. Rob says, the only way Hojlund goes is an obligation loan. Selling him now would be a big loss. Yeah. And this is a hard part because it's like Wilcox and co have to sit here and untangle all these webs that people before them like created. And it's just, and that's, they have to do that also while trying to support Amorim moving forward with his signings. Like it's knots after knots after knots to unravel just to get anything done. And it's really Danny does not want Kolo Muani. I am not a fan of Kolo Muani. Again, this is why I don't go big on players after one decent season. This is why I'm not super thrilled with Ekitike either. Because he could go exactly the same route, man. Even Vlahovic is kind of an example of that. Tobias says, Hojlund could be a future. He could be a future star. He could go off to another league and like do like a McTominay's doing, or like what Anthony did at Betis. He could do just fine. Like maybe it's the club, maybe it's the league, maybe it's just the timing of where we are right now and the system maybe doesn't fit. Could be a number of anything. Maybe it was just not too fair for him to be a 20-year-old as our main striker. I could be a combination of all of it. Either way, the whys don't matter as much as the what, and the what is it's just not working. And so wish best of luck. It is what it is, man. Rob says, I think that Ederson Rios signings are more. Yeah, we spoke about Rios earlier a little bit. I showed you guys some of his percentiles and whatnot. I like Rios. We've been linked. He's exactly the kind of midfielder we're looking at. We've been linked to a lot. I've done reports on a lot of them. I do think that midfielder is not a priority. I think the midfielder and the goalkeeper situation depend more on outgoings, and the goalkeeper situation is going to depend more on Onana. I think we probably will get a backup keeper, but I think that only way we get a new keeper, number one, is if Onana goes. But go check out my video I did yesterday on my top 6 goalkeeper targets for United, if that's the case. But I think that if we sell some players, we could see a midfielder come in. But I don't think that's going to happen until August, if anything. But big up. Rob says Ederson probably too expensive. Ederson's kind of gone off the radar a little bit for a lot of people. So Tabasa says you can play Kolo, just don't give him penalties. Nice. Yeah, all down to sales. Yeah, definitely is all down to sales. So speaking of midfielders, though, I have a little bit of a scouting report for you guys. So I know you guys like to do the scouting reports. So let me go in here. So we already talked about Hojlund. I want to make sure I bring my slide up here. Boom, boom, boom. So you guys kind of had a hand in this one because this guy, I'll admit, he wasn't on my list necessarily. I do tend to look at some of the younger stuff, and I haven't looked a whole lot at Premier League players, so admittedly, so that's on me. But you guys brought this guy up recently, so thought I would include him. He's not a player that I'm completely unaware of. Like I watched this guy. I think he's good. He just wasn't a player that I was planning to do a scouting report on, basically. But we'll do one regardless because you guys were mentioning him the other day, and I do think that he would suit this system while we're talking about midfielders in that vein. So let's talk a little bit about Elliot Anderson, because I know you guys are big fans of Elliot Anderson. Old school midfielder, the type I think Sir Alex would have loved in his heyday. This like McGinn, Keno, ball progressing midfielder, physical, got the mentality, good on the ball, carries it well, gets it into advanced positions. He loves to press high up the pitch. He ticks all the boxes that we're looking for at United. Plays for Forest, just joined Forest not that long ago though. 22 years old, good young age. Again, physicality, dribbling. He's got 2 goals, 6 assists in all comps this season, as you can see there. 2 times team of the week this season. He created 7 big chances as well. Very good midfielder. If you look at some of his percentiles, he's got the greens in all the good areas that you want for this midfield role. Progressive carries, take-ons, progressive passes received, getting into advanced position. Look at the defensive numbers, the tackles, the aerials. He's physical, shot creating actions, top 25%. What I would like to see is some of his passing improve. So he is above average when it comes to progressive passes per 90, but only just. And his pass completion is not great. It's not horrible, but compared to other midfielders, he's well below average. So I would like to see his passing improve. But again, he makes up for it because if you look at those carries and those take-ons, he is well above. He's in the top 10% for take-ons. So he can beat a man 1v1 and he can carry it up the pitch. So he makes up for it a little bit. Not everyone's going to have that passing range. Some players are going to be better at carrying the ball. Like look at Xerxes, for instance. Look at Kabi Menu, for instance. These guys are very good with the ball at their feet. Again, recently joined Forest from Newcastle and this was a whole weird situation for them because people will say, "Oh, he cost 40 million." Well, yes and no. So he recently joined Forest from Newcastle for 40 million or so, but basically what that was to help Newcastle with their PSR. And really, it was only like he joined them for like 20 mil because part of the deal was Newcastle got goalkeeper Vlachodimos for about 24 million, which is way higher than Vlachodimos is worth. And so that's how they kind of helped each other out PSR wise. It was a way of getting past PSR for both clubs. But really, you kind of look at this like this was a big mistake from Newcastle, the way Elliot Anderson's been playing this past year. He's already drawing heads. Liverpool were linked with him in January. He turned down a move to Wolves. I doubt he's going anywhere anytime soon. But again, he ticks a lot of boxes for me. And I know he ticks a lot of boxes for you guys. He definitely comes into any squad he joins and he raises the mentality and the physicality level in that squad to a new level. Plus, it would be nice to have a boss of a ginger midfielder at the club again. Not going to lie, would be great. So let me see what y'all are saying here. Rob says, I got a feeling that we keep Rasmus and bring in a free striker, Mitrovic. I wouldn't say no to Jonathan David. He's very, very good. So Debassi says, very good, except the Nottingham tag will be. So he was 40 million, but at the same time, he was like half that, if like I said. So Danny says, Kamara straight away. Yeah, I would definitely get Kamara to help them with PSR. Rob says, Villa really need to sell because of PSR. I would take Kamara in a heartbeat. I think he ticks Morgan Rogers, I would absolutely take in a heartbeat. I think he ticks the boxes. If we could do some sort of get rid of Mason Mount, bring in Morgan Rogers, and kind of go from there, I would absolutely love that deal. Morgan Rogers, I would take exactly. Dubai says pass is 21%. It's just a pass completion. Yeah, it's just, and it might, sometimes that's be maybe he's trying too many risky passes or something. Sometimes that could be the result of that too. So Kamara, yeah, everyone's talking. Dubai says 57% interception means he jumps the wrong way at times. It just means that he is slightly above average when it comes to interceptions per 90 compared to other. It's a population distribution is a fancy way of calling it. If you guys can look up like a bell curve, for instance, is a population distribution. That's what that means. So Rob says, I want to see Emmanuel Ugarte given a run, but Amorim will play Bruno. Yeah, what did you say up here? Someone asked a question. Question for Sean, maybe a poll. Can Bruno be a success? I'll put it in the chat since we're about wrapping up here in a second here. I'll let you guys end on that poll. I think that's where Bruno is going to play personally. Just if you look at who we're signing. And we kind of asked this question back when he stayed, when he chose to stay. But I think this is where you're going to see Bruno play. And I put up his percentiles, Bruno, when he plays in the midfield role versus when he plays in the attacking midfield role. And his percentiles in the midfield role are actually very, very good. So I can see if I can go find it real quick. Hold on, you guys. Bear with me. I'll go bring it up real quick. Look at FB Ref, Bruno Fernandes. So look at the last season. So there's two things here. There's the versus midfielders and the versus attacking midfield and wingers. So I will bring up the midfielders so you can see what I'm talking about here. So if you look at this is versus midfielders. So there's two tabs. So again, progressive passes, progressive carries, take-ons, all that are within the top top percentile, well above average when he plays in a deeper role. And even his tackles are in the 70th percentile. And he's average for winning those aerial duels as well. Like, he's not bad when you play him in that deep role. Even his shot creating actions from that deep role, his assist, all that stuff are still well within the top couple percent. So he's actually very good from the deep role as well. Obviously, that shifts a little bit when you look at the attacking midfield. So compared to attacking midfielders, he's got a little bit more tackles and stuff, but he's not bad in that role. Obviously, it's not his natural role, but he's not bad. And I think that's I think he's going to have a little bit of a free license, Bruno, in that role. And so but that's the problem. And also the solution is because he's got a little bit of license, because you trust him with that, it does require a bit from his midfield partner. And so it has its pros and cons, that kind of player. But I think that what Bruno offers is far better than anything he like is a detriment for, if that makes sense. Whoa, what are you guys saying? Tommy Knockers, welcome to the channel. Sancho and Jose match made. I literally said that earlier, man. Welcome to the channel, man. Make sure you're hitting that like button for me too. I got one more question for you guys. Before I do that, make sure you check in the links in the descriptions. Again, there is a charity link in there if anyone wants to contribute. I said if we get any live contributions, I would give away some memberships for free on the channel live. So no pressure. If you can't, consider sharing it as well, because that would be great. My wife obviously is a volunteer at a dog shelter in the city of Detroit. They have a big fundraiser going on, and it does help the dogs. So consider that. But big up, Tommy Knockers. Rob said Jose likes his project. Jose likes his young defenders. He does not like young attackers. And if they are young, like, he loves McTominay, because I think, again, McTominay is the kind of player who will just, doesn't matter who the manager is, he'll run through a brick wall. And managers like that. He's not a doormat, but he just works hard. So I think Tabasi says his age will make him deteriorate in some areas. Maybe, but he's barely injured. He still starts like all the time. I think Bruno is going to be fine for the next several years, but Tom and Doctor says if you want to play him in the pivot, he's a physical sitter. Ugarte doesn't sit, and Bruno's tackles in the pivot are still pretty good. The problem is because the squad, we don't have an Mbeumo, we don't have a Cunha yet. Bruno is the only one who's really creating chances at one end of the pitch, and he's really the only one who can be a playmaker from deep positions in the pivot. And so he's having to do both jobs. And when we get a better quality of player, when we raise the level of this squad, both in physicality and mentality, that will help. I think having Cunha and Mbeumo kind of doing that will help a lot. They will carry the ball a lot. Rob says Bruno's problem is he can't stick to his patch. I think it's a little both. It's a little bit of indiscipline in Bruno, but I also think, like I said, it's a lack of quality in the squad among his teammates. Bruno has to do stuff, and it's that O principle that I've talked about. Someone else's like shortcomings mean Bruno is then going to got to go and help out, which takes away from his stuff. It's a ripple effect. It's just the way it is. Yes, Rob, like you're saying, please hit that like button. I do appreciate it. It does help the channel. Please subscribe if you are new. Consider doing that. Go check out all those links as well. The memberships, the UVE store, all the links to Fubo, Kitbag, Fanatics, and then the charity. They're all in there. Go. The video description is just full of all sorts of links. There's too many in there. Go check out the goalkeeper video from yesterday as well if you guys haven't done so yet. Debasi says Bruno goes out of position at times. That's where you get Ederson to back him. Yeah, and I think that Ugarte, he has got that little bit of that ratter, that terrier kind of mentality. Casemiro obviously doesn't have the legs. Kobe is still young, and he's got to bulk up a little bit personally, and the injuries are kind of took him out of action for a little bit of time. Tommy Knox says, bit of a headless chicken, but it was time, same as Pogba. He needs to create and score the goals. Yeah, Bruno's literally got to do everything right now. So someone talked a little bit earlier. They asked about, so let me see what you guys are saying on Bruno before I move on here. So can Bruno be a success in the pivot? 75% of you say no. Only 4 votes, though, so we'll call that a small sample size. What do you think Amorim should do with the players who are clearly not in his plans or who have fallen out of the club during this whole preseason situation? Like, what do you think should happen right now with guys like Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho? Like, do you take them on tour? Do you kind of just say don't bother showing up? Do you go full Ten Hag and say, Sancho, you can't even eat with your teammates? Like, what do you do with these players for the summer? Like, I want to know what you guys would do right now. I mean, obviously we want to sell them, but but what, like, say, like, until that happens, like, what do you do with them? Do you take them to preseason? Do you just tell them, like, stay home, go get your own training, go hang out, go to Spain on vacation? Like, what do you do with them until you sell them, basically, to Bassi? Danny says, I shall Shaw to find a new club, leave him at home. Rob just became a member. Big up, Rob, man. That's awesome, man. Appreciate that. Love that, dude. Love that. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Like I said, while my wife is doing the fundraiser, any membership fees that the channel gets will go straight to that as well. But big up, Rob. That's awesome, dude. Appreciate that. Do love that. Says stay home. No, Todd. Leave them back at home to focus on finding new clubs. We don't get negativity over the summer. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, and if you remember, this was the issue when Sancho and Ten Hag had that falling out. Like, is it creating negativity by banishing them? Is that going to cause a problem, or do you just say, just nip it, get it out, remove that cancerous piece, and like try to save the rest of it? It's a difficult position to be in. You know, I think Sancho obviously had nothing to do with amorim. Garnacho's had his disciplinary issues. Rashford has his disciplinary issues. So I get that. But yeah, what do you do until then? You just tell them to stay home. Danny says, tell them to stay home. Nota says, leave them back home. Focus on finding new clubs. Debasi says, if it was me, I'd keep them far from sight. No chance they would influence new younger players that will see them as role models. I hope nobody's seeing Sancho as a role model. What do you think the other players think of stuff like that? Do you think that impacts them? Do you think that kind of changes their opinion of the manager? Or do you think they keep their head down and just do what they need to do? It's a delicate situation managing a dressing room. That is a big part of being a manager. You've got to be the authority in that dressing room, but you've also got to find a way to navigate that, because it's kind of like having multiple children. You know, every player's a little different. Ferguson knew which players needed a kick in the ass and which players needed an arm around the shoulder. I think Ollie had a little bit about that as well. Not everyone has a personality that's like that. Not everyone goes about managing like that. And so it's a tricky situation, man. It's not Ted Lasso. You can't just come out and do some fun games on the training pitch. Tommy says, can't play him in case they get injured. This is why I'm so curious that, like, Mastantuono, who is looking like, I thought he was going to Real Madrid, but why are you playing in the club? If I was Madrid and I was trying to buy Mastantuono, I would be like, River Plate, what are you doing? Wrap him in cotton wool, but we're not buying him. If he gets injured, you're fucked. Yeah, and that's always an interesting one too. If they get injured, you know, no one's going to buy him. I mean, with Malacia, it's you never know what's going to happen there. Shaw as well. Debasi says only hard workers get to stay. Yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, he had no problem, Amorim, kind of benching Garnacho, benching Rashford. You know, obviously Sancho was here in the summer and then was gone before Amorim got here. Maybe there's a chance back for Sancho. I think that for me, it's bridge burnt for Sancho though. But Danny says he looked poo last night. I wonder if he's got his mind on Madrid already. He's kind of half out the door, maybe. Yeah, I haven't watched the Club World Cup because I can't be bothered, so I don't know. Rob says it's been bad once Ragnick exposed it. Well, Ragnick just said what we already knew, and that's, I mean, he just kind of said it. And so I think a lot of us knew that. We just weren't expecting him to say that. So we're all like, wait a minute, can he say that? You're allowed to say that? All right, cool. Same with Ronaldo. Ronaldo didn't say anything we didn't already know. But you just, you know, the extra stuff he said about his teammates, you can't do that kind of stuff. That's why Roy Keane was no longer at the club. Bruno, so majority you don't think Bruno can be a success in the pivot. So interesting. But big up Rob for becoming the newest member, this newest starting 11 member, man. That's awesome. Remember, the starting 11s do get a lot of perks. Go check those out in the membership descriptions as well. The Legends members get a little bit more perks. The Legends actually do get to join in on the Roundabout, the Kickabout show every week. We do that on Wednesday nights, so you get to stop by and give their thoughts on a couple of topics when Dylan and I are in here doing our panel show. So that's a new show we just started this past week, so I'm glad that we're going to keep that going. I'm glad that Dylan is on board. I'm glad to have him. I know you guys love having Dylan around. It's always nice to have someone who looks like Christian Eriksen. I told him he's missing out on some extra income. Go do some Christian Eriksen impersonations. So Danny says, no, Sean, I don't think he can unless he has a world-class or top 6 behind him. Interesting. And hopefully we will have that. The problem is we have to do a little bit of squad trimming. And so I don't think the club's plan is to get a midfielder right this summer. I think that would depend on outgoings And maybe if someone comes in for Casemiro, because again, we've got Bruno, we've got Casemiro, Ugarte, Mainu, Colley. We've got 5 players who play in that midfield pivot. And potentially Kone too, if we promote Kone, which I think we should. That's a big ask. Now, Ugarte, I'm still iffy about, simply because Amorim barely played him the last couple games, including the final. So in Casemiro, I think if we got an offer, we'd take it. But I think Amorim really likes Casemiro, but he really only suits when we play a certain way against certain opposition. And so we definitely need someone with legs. So, but if any of the reports are to be believed, we are lining up a couple of midfield targets. So if we do get a midfielder, it ain't going to be till someone or more than one person are sold, and it ain't going to be till like August personally. But I think Bruno works, but like you're saying, it's not like he can play as like the deepest player. He's going to be kind of a free roaming player. There's someone he's going to play like that Vitinha role. Vitinha plays in a deeper role, but he kind of has a little bit of more freedom, or like a Frankie de Jong kind of a situation. He's just the guy you want to get on the ball. He's going to make things happen. So I see that as well. Rob says, yeah, Bruno ain't Pirlo. Well, yeah, obviously. Rob says he should have gone to Saudi. Bruno was poor for most. Bruno was poor. He was our best player, man. He was our best player, Rob. He's the only player who was doing anything all season, unfortunately. But I think Bruno gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I'm not saying you're giving him hate, but and maybe by his standards, he wasn't where he was a couple years ago. But he's definitely not poor. He's still one of the best midfielders in the league, in my opinion. Danny says Yashari, yeah. If we got Yashari, I would be head over heels, man. I might be the first shirt that I get with a name on it, but we will see. So Rob says we finished 50th or 16th. Yeah, I mean, are you really putting that on Bruno though? I mean, that's not fair. There was like 22 players in the squad. We changed managers mid-season. Like, that's a bit harsh. Like, it bugs me when like Roy Keane is like, he puts all of that blame for where we finished on Bruno. Like, what is the captain supposed to do? He's like, it's not a video game. Like, Bruno's not there with the controller making players do stuff. There's only so much you can do as a captain. And Bruno really, as a captain, just had to be the guy to score goals or create chances. That's the only thing you can do with a lot of these players, unfortunately. Tommy says if Bruno plays on the pivot with Ugarte, the defense are going to have a load of space to deal with. Yeah, I'm still yet to be 100% convinced on Ugarte. He was immense for us for those like month before like the Chelsea game. He was very, very good. And then I don't know what happened there. It's ridiculous, man. Tommy thinks Casemiro Bruno pivot is better. Casemiro Bruno pivot really lacks legs, in my opinion. It has a lot of passing range. It has a lot of experience, but it does lack legs, in my opinion. Rob says he's the captain. Bruno can be good, but he wasn't. I mean, fair enough. Maybe by his standards. I do think he still had a good season, but it is what it is. Debassi's still waving that Ederson flag. That's funny. So sounds like you guys are ready to just leave these guys at home if they're not in the plans, which I totally get. It makes sense. You don't want them in that dressing room. You don't want them being a negative influence. You don't want them kind of infecting everyone else. So it is what it is. But I am going to leave it there, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new, please. I really appreciate the chat today. We had a nice, good, long, healthy show. Love it. Love hearing everyone's opinions. If you haven't yet gone to watch that goalkeeper video that we did yesterday, go watch that. Check out the link. Consider either contributing to the charity in the link if you guys can. If not, consider sharing it for someone else you can. Really appreciate that. Big up Sanjay for donating yesterday. Big up, man. Absolute legend. But I appreciate everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever's left of it. Hopefully it's not too hot where you are, because it is crazy hot for me. But thank you guys for stopping by. We will be back as soon as any updates you guys know. Nototh, big up Nototh. Appreciate the love, man. Top channel. Glad I found it. Love. This is your guys' channel. As you can see, I kind of let you guys dictate the discussion based on just what your thoughts are. And so I want to make sure everybody gets involved. But of course, any late breaking news, we will be here. I doubt we will see anything the rest of the day, though. But enjoy it. Take it easy. Big up Rob again for becoming a member live. Love that, you guys. Take it easy. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.